Alright, welcome to the third or fourth COVID log, I don't know at this point, but today I'll be revisiting the service worker thing from 2 weeks ago because it turns out that my original solution wasn't as great as I thought it would be. So just as a quick recap, in case you missed that video, Chrome released Manifest v3 a few months ago, and one of the major changes that it did was it got rid of background scripts and replaced it with service workers. Now what's the big deal about this is that it's not persistent, meaning that it could just die whenever and then only revive when something else calls it. And that's all good if you want to do things like set timeout or set interval or other things that should happen later on in the future, but that required the script to remain alive. So since my Chrome extension heavily used that feature, I came up with a workaround that involved all of the other scripts continually reviving the service worker. It did this by having the service worker continually indicate the local storage here, once every 10th of a second that it was alive. And these tabs, seeing that, don't do anything because they know that the service worker is alive. But once it dies, that's when they all just come in and start pinging the service worker to revive it. And yeah, that works. So basically, in a few moments, the service worker is going to revive itself and regenerate all of those set timeouts. So basically, there's no delay between the previous life cycle and this one. So it's essentially continuous. Now the problem with that is that because the service worker is continually pinging the database when it's alive, it uses up a lot of CPU. No joke. This was my CPU in the task manager for Google Chrome when the extension was enabled. And once I turned it off, it dropped all the way to 5.6. Now this is some major performance issue here. You wouldn't want to download a Chrome extension that just takes up all of your RAM and makes your computer make random noises throughout the day. You just don't want this. So my first solution was basically bad to a very large extent. Now, how did I go about fixing this? Well, introducing my new passing the baton thing that I came up with yesterday. But hey, this one actually could work. I haven't implemented it yet, but it looks promising. So basically, we got rid of the pop-up here. That's because we don't actually need it anymore. And the service worker here is going to not be responsible for any of the set timeouts and whatnot, but just responsible for passing this baton, which contains all of the set timeouts and whatnot that require a persistent script. See, what I said last time about these tabs not being persistent, well, they actually are until the user decides to close them. So that means that while any of these tabs are alive, they can all be able or capable of holding this baton of responsibility. So that's what the service worker is going to do. It's going to make sure that the baton is in one of these tabs. And when the tab ultimately closes, because it's no longer being needed, then the service worker takes back the baton and transfers it to a different tab. And that way, it's basically the same thing, which is that the set timeouts are continually being set up and run, and there's no discontinuity between one instance and the next. The only thing that the service worker needs in storage is just which tab here currently has the baton. And once the service worker detects that a tab is dead, it just passes on to the next available tab. But what if there are no more tabs left? Well, that means just they're not using Chrome anymore. So In that case, the service worker just takes it back and it waits for the user to open up Chrome again. And boom, that's it. Very performance efficient and does the same thing. Note that this baton code is literally just all of the service worker code from before. In the service worker, well, you just need a few lines to handle the baton passing. But other than that, it's basically the same. So that's my epic new strat. Let's see if this works. Alright, well, maybe that made sense. I don't know. But thank you for listening to this video thing. Bye.